What you got going on, Dave?
So thank you for your help. My 2009 Xterra started about 150,000 miles. It would begin to run rough. The tachometer would drop almost to zero. It would die if I didn't pump the accelerator. Then the vehicle dynamic control light would indicate that it disengaged, and the slip light would come on. And then the transmission would bang. I'm pretty sure it was the transmission would like change gears, shift down, and cause a violent jolt. And then the car would either die, or if I could manage to keep it running long enough to get to a safe place or get it off the road, then it would die. I could leave it set a few minutes, maybe several minutes, crank it back up. I might get 4 or 5 miles down the road, and it would repeat. So the mechanic, first time around, pulled the codes and determined a O2 sensor was bad. Replaced it, and the car seemed fine for a few hundred miles. Same symptoms would repeat. The next time, maybe it would be the camshaft sensor would indicate on the computer. They'd take care of that, and it would seemingly be okay for a while. This went on for 10 or 20,000 miles over several chances. And then ultimately they zeroed in, I believe, to the catalytic converters being jammed up. So once that was resolved, and they had to go through either 2 or 4 catalytic converters. I'm not sure what the number was on that. But now that vehicle seems to have been cured of that particular problem. But now my 2013 Xterra with the same drivetrain and engine at 70,000 miles has just begun the same symptoms all over again. Is there something unique about this vehicle?
Dave, it's really hard for me to sit there and say if everything that was done on the one prior was all warranted or not. There's really, when you get a problem and somebody's threw that much stuff at it, my first impression is that they probably fixed it just from sheer dumb luck. For it to have gone on as long as it did and as many different things, first thing I would think of is somebody telling me a story like this is that you had a rodent problem. Yeah, a rodent problem, where first thing we would start doing is looking at the wiring harness, especially in some really tucked in, far away places for, rodents will get into a vehicle and eat the wiring harnesses up. Next thing you know, you've got wires touching that shouldn't be, and you'll have all kinds of crazy issues like this. So as far as it being common and that many things to get it resolved, no, that's not common. So the newer one that you're having that type of problem with, it depends on the technician that's looking at it and what he sees on a data stream and how well he is versed on interpreting that data to know exactly where every sensor on that vehicle is supposed to be. And then you make determinations on whether you got a problem with a circuit or a sensor or whatever. But those are other things that you would wind up in a situation like this is if you had a bad connection, maybe going into the PCM computer, the powertrain control module, or that the wiring harness maybe is deteriorating internally, or a bad PCM, the computer itself. Those are all things that could, be a chain reaction type of thing. But normally it doesn't take that many things and that many repeated catalytic converters and that sort of thing. So me as a professional tech, I sit back and I have to be a little bit spectacle of what you're, everything that you've been through. So I really, there's no way for me to judge the competency of who's been working on the vehicle. And that's why we do this show, is because, all shops are not created equal, and nor are the mechanics that are under the roof of that shop, So I'll tell you like this, Dave, on this next one, listen, you're more than welcome to swing by Magic Mechanic. We don't want to steal anybody's customer under no circumstances, but I'll be more than glad to put a scan tool on the vehicle and actually tell you what codes are in it and give you my opinion. And then you're more than welcome to take it to your tech and let him take a look at it and just kind of compare what you get explained to from one to the other. And just make sure that you're not throwing money out the window or sending a mechanic to school, basically, that are trying a bunch of different parts on your vehicle at your expense.